Yo, 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 no maniacs. Good morning on Bears Packer rivalry week. Man, it's the main event about to happen here, man. The week everybody's been waiting for. If you're a Bears fan, no matter where you live here in the States, here in Chicago, and across the United States and around the world, this is what you've been waiting for. Everybody wants to know, is this our time? Is this the Rubicon and where the Chicago Bears turn that corner, turn the proverbial corner, and show the rest of the league that they're serious? Not only that, just to show in a localized setting, the NFC North that we're ready to take that throne. And I think today a win will go a long way towards making that case. And it's a lot of I just on Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T. Anybody that hasn't subscribed to that channel, you should. Man, that man knows football like especially football offense, like very few people in our content genre. So do that man a favor and go subscribe to the channel. And let me start the conversation off like this. After some good thorough diagnosis of the situation from the first time that we faced Green Bay in week one to now, I can tell you right now that we got a totally, completely different team than what they saw in the first week. We know that. They know that. That being said, Jordan Love is playing some of the best football out of any quarterback, any of the quarterbacks in the league, and really so is Justin Fields. And so what's happening is it feels like a clash of the Titans because despite the records, these teams are playing some high level football right now. And I think the matchup, you put your fandom to the side for a second and just look at the matchup and the competition for what it is. It's set up to be a doozy. It should be a good game, but we're going to get into the details of how I think it's going to play out, who has the advantages, some PowerPoints, and some key details you might want to pay attention to while the game is being played. But without further ado, man, Chris, what's on your mind this morning and how you feel?
Hey man, feel pretty good. It's good to be here. This is it, round 18. So, like I said before the season started, where we start and where we end are definitely going to be two different places, and we see it. I mean, this Bears team is vastly improved. I think you've got a good foundation to move forward, man, and build on what we've got. Some key pieces. Um, be a nice way to end it, man. Kicking Green Bay out the playoffs, and so it's just good. It's a good day, man. It's good to see everybody in the chat. Berlissimo, Patty Lara, Armando, Leo Factor One, Nathan Campbell, Plank, Mark Kazak, my friend Brian Hendren. How you doing, man? It's good to see all you guys with us today, and it's going to be a good day for us Chicago Bears and our fans.
Yo, um, all the last year. Hey, King Booker, what's up? What's up, no maniacs? I'm trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out what the best analogy for this situation really was, and I'm not sure if I really nailed it, but I'm thinking like Rocky 2. I don't know how old y'all are out there and all that, but Rocky 2, if I'm correct, Rocky kind of goes out, loses the belt to Apollo Creed, and basically, the majority of the film is just about him kind of climbing his way back against all odds to have that rematch with Apollo and eventually win. And I think that's sort of like what we're looking at here today. We came into the mix, the movie started, we got our what's handed to us. Week one, punched in the mouth week one. Things weren't super awesome for the next couple of weeks. Really, the major question was, who are these Bears? And we wanted to figure that out. And I think we found out real early who they were. They were a team that has some young rookie coaches trying to figure out their path. We had a young quarterback with not a whole lot of weapons. Some of those weapons decided to take their ball and go home early, which clearly affected the trajectory of the offense. All those things are true. That's Clubber Lang, my guy. Say it's been a minute since I seen Rocky 2, guys. So straighten me out. Like I said, it might not be the best analogy, but in the middle of the season, we kind of recognize, wait a minute, the defense is also a little bit shaky, and we got to get to where we need to get to. And Mr. Pulse took his time and actually went out and got that missing link, that piece that we needed. And that piece is the monster, Montez Sweat. The Tez effect is taking full effect, and now we start to see what that means on the field. We start to see the defense change and grow and morph into the monster that it truly should have been at the beginning of the season. And here we are once again facing that Clubber Lang or that Apollo Creed at the end of the movie again, trying to figure out who we were in the beginning, how much have we changed and grown over the course of the film, and now we have the opportunity to knock that MF out. I know it's early in the day, so I'll keep my language straight. It's that time, guys. It's that time. You know what I'm saying? It's that time. We're here. We've come full fruition. We learned who we were early on. We've adapted. We've changed. We've grown. And now we're going to be tested again. Let's pass that test. Let's ace that test. I know there's been a lot of cramming and a lot of shouting and a lot of noise. But here we are. And I'm up for the challenge. I know those Bears are up for this challenge. And I expect nothing but an absolute butt whooping of the Packers today. Bear down.
All right. That's a good, inspiring speech there, sir. I like it. Before we get into talking turkey about the details of this game, let me give you the inactives for today. We got out. Moon is out. Deontay Foreman, Greg Stroman, Jatari Carter, Tyson Bagent, Quindale Johnson, safety, and Jalen Johnson. And let's circle that name right there, and let's give them a little bit of what was being said in the green room. And so I'll start this conversation past you, Chris, but I don't know who brought it up. I think I brought it up, but Kids mentioned it like, what's that all about? He pretty much went on to, I believe it was 670 the show or something, and said there's 100% chance that he was going to play in this game. And so I felt pretty good about he was going to fight through whatever was ailing him, shoulder, whatever it was. However, this is how things happen in front offices, man. When you have a piece that we know is valuable and has good trade value or just value altogether, and you don't quite know exactly how it's going to play out on the negotiation front, but you do have that piece on the chessboard that you pretty much have the rights to. You can negotiate until you get blue in the face, but if the terms don't agree, you can fall by way of, okay, we're going to meet his expectations somewhat and sign him. We also might want to do that with the leverage of being able to trade that asset as well. And so what I said in the green room, it could be, I don't know that they do that. I hope they don't do that, because I think Jalen Johnson is valuable towards the run that I think we can have come next year. So I don't want to see that happening. All I was doing was speaking to the realities of NFL front offices. They have to play it like a game of chess. And I think if you're looking at it from an administrative standpoint, it was smart to take that chess piece off the board. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, it's about options. And smart man keeps his options open. And so I think that could be, what they're looking at. There's not a lot riding on this game for us. So, you know, Jalen could have been extended already. Could very well get the franchise tag, and that's when it becomes your options open up. I mean, he could do a lot with that. I mean, it's $18 to $20 million that we'd have to pay him. You might want to send in another direction and pick up an asset. So it's just about options. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I mean, Ked said, you need to reward our own, and I totally agree with that. But that could have been the thinking last year. Roshan Smith Um, he was one of our own, and they didn't pay him. So, and most of us Bears fans wanted them to pay him. So, um, we can see. We'll see what happens. But this is going to be a heck of an off season, guys. And uh, I truly trust Ryan Poles to do what's in the best interest of the team. So we're going to see.
We gon' see. Like I said, pay this man. I'll say it louder. Pay this man. You know, when your boss comes up to you and he says, hey, man, you can get a bonus if you sell, if you beat quota, you get a major bonus. We don't have any cap at this job. You give you a major bonus. You hit all these specific criteria. And you go out and you go, damn, man, I don't know if I can hit this criteria. And then you destroy the criteria. You outsell everybody in the position. You deserve that bonus. You deserve that signing. And I think that's where Jalen Johnson is right now. They asked him to get them interceptions. He got them. They asked him to make the Pro Bowl. He's in the Pro Bowl. I'm not really sure, outside of just simple business and finance, why they wouldn't actually reward this particular player. And the reality to me is I think Jalen Johnson has grown in his position as, as a face within the Chicago Bears organization, a player face. I think he really represents that defense right now, while Montez Sweat is sort of growing into the role, being new to the team. I think you keep both of those guys together, and that's just my 2 cents on it. But again, dollar cents of finances, that's really up to Ryan Poles. He'll make his decisions as he moves forward. But I think you want to I think you want to sign a guy like Jalen just to send that type of love throughout the locker room and make sure the locker room is buying into what you do for your players. That's where I'm at.
So here's I'm gonna give you I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'm gonna play pro player. I'm gonna lean, I'm a pro player guy anyway, but I'm gonna play both sides of this so that you all may be able to see if it makes sense to you all how this could really be playing in the background. Now this could be some short-sightedness by Ryan Poles by not getting the deal done before the season started. You didn't expect that Jalen Johnson would finish the season off with a Pro Bowler, probably. You probably didn't. You didn't imagine that Jalen Johnson would finish, I don't know, he's up there in interceptions, out of nowhere. You were at one place at the negotiating table at the beginning of the season. Now you're at this other place at the beginning of the season. Benefits. Everything benefits Jalen Johnson. He has all the leverage when it comes to this. Ryan Poles, here's what you can do for the situation. Let's go back to Jalen Jones. His camp could be like, hey, Jalen, if I'm his agent, I'm like, hey, you're sitting in the most prominent position you have since you've been a Bear. You can be a soldier, but if you don't have all the lapels and all the, medals and all the kind of stuff that makes you a really valuable soldier, you know what I mean? Then you're just a soldier. Now he has medals and lapels on his chest that he has as leverage. And so if I'm in his camp, I'm saying, you know what, you got dinged up in that last game. Don't be rushing it, man. Fall back. There's always a chance you could get yourself hurt and damage your marketability. And so play this one down. I know you want to go out there and battle with your boys, but it's meaningless. It's a meaningless game. And here you stand to get a certain dollar amount if you don't play. It could be that. And it also could be the angle I said before with Ryan Poles and having some kind of keeping himself with some kind of leverage in the situation, thinking of it in that way. Man, he don't want to play the valuable piece. Put him to the side and let's get his stuff worked out and see what we can do with it. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's the way I see it. I see it 2 ways.
Well, like I said, options. They're a beautiful thing. They're a valuable asset to have, just having the choices. So, yeah, you really would, in an ideal world, like to see him bring him back. But I don't know, kids.
Here's where I'm at. So you asked the kid to go and do these things. He did them. Franchise tag him now. Cool. You have that option. What happens when he goes and he does it again next year? Huge monster question mark. Fact of the matter is, what happens is you've already lost your leverage the franchise tag is what little bit of leverage you have. You also stand you stand to completely lose your leverage, which will push you into a situation where you definitely have to trade Jalen Johnson next year if he does meet and exceed, the metrics and measurables and quotas, et cetera, that you put in front of him. That's where we're at, right?
Well,
You
if
can,
that
you can
happens, the type of asset that you could recover for
you'll get
him
better stuff back. You're right.
also increases. So
That is true.
yeah, and the cap's going to dictate. I mean, how the cap falls out next year, depending on what we do. We've got a lot of money in Montez. We're going to stick a lot of money in something else. It might very well be Jalen Johnson, but cap's going to dictate. But he's an asset either way, and you have options with him. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you pay the man, but again, that's because I'm a Bears fan. I'll be just straight up about this. I'm a Bears fan. I would like to see Jalen Johnson back in a big happy capacity where he's energized and charged and wants to wants to
Let
do
me
the
ask you
darn
this,
thing.
kids: if we could sign Daniil Hunter or Brian Burns in the offseason, and that meant trading Jalen Johnson, say, for a second round pick, and you might be able to get a first for him, but say for a second round pick, would how would that set with you? Because you remember, we've got to address some other things in free agency. We've got to address center. Definitely center. Possibly, depends on what we do with Eddie. We might have to look at picking up a safety.
There's a few different things to look at here. The first one is I don't think we're strapped for cash by any stretch of the imagination. That's number one. Number two, you're right. We may have to look for a center and or a safety come the end of this season, or come the beginning of next season. If we wind up cutting those two particular positions, we're also going to increase cap space in a major monster way because both of those guys have very large contracts coming up next year. I don't really see any of those dollars and cents really squeezing it out to the point where you can't get a Daniil Hunter and keep a Jalen Johnson. That's just me. But again, I don't have all the financials in front of me to really make a solid determination. If somebody was to come up to me for a number two, that's what he wants for Jalen. He already articulated that. So it would definitely be an interesting conversation for Ryan Poles to have. I know he'd be interested if somebody offered him a two for sure.
Well, I respect all that way of thinking, but I didn't mean for the conversation to go too far past the regular season. Let's stay where our feet are in this game. I think people want to hear some key points to the game and where we think are the advantages, the disadvantages, key players to watch for. I'm gonna give you a couple things. We'll just start here. Yeah. I think this game is going to be won on defense. I think defense will rule the day here. I think we're going to do some things to them offensively that they probably don't see coming. And I'll point out to something on defense, a couple things. We'll start with this. I think because Terrell Smith and Tyreek aren't rookies per se anymore. They've even though Tyreek Stevenson has logged more snaps and reps than Terrell Smith, I think they will look at an opportunity to attack Terrell Smith in a different kind of way. And what I mean by that is, let's just say from a zone formation, let's just say they're playing plain old cover two. There's a high-low concept that you have to understand as a corner as one of the rules to that defense. You have to maintain a certain depth so you don't overplay something or you don't underplay something. They'll test him with that early. So there'll be whole shots over his head maybe, and they'll see if they can take advantage of that concept. And then when they're in man defense, let's say a 3rd down and 6. I'm just giving you a scenario for Green Bay. They're in a 3rd down and 6. Everybody pretty much knows they're probably not going to try to run that ball. And so what offensive coordinator tends to call during situations like that, they like to call a bunch of rub plays. So they'll run receiver concepts so that it rubs a DB a little bit and kind of gets him off of the coverage a little bit. And what hopefully he's been working on Tyreek during the week is the techniques that you need to not go too high over. If you see a guy trying to rub you and you identify it, don't go too high over and don't go too low underneath it. I think they'll try him. I don't know if any of that made sense to you guys, but I'm gonna try to describe it the best way I can. So what I'm saying is Terrell is probably going to be the target on defense, but I think he can help himself by staying true to the rules of the defense and just knowing his technique, and I think he'll be just fine. So what do you guys think about that, Chris?
Well, I'm actually a lot more interested in the defense that Green Bay will be playing. Justin looked real good against Atlanta last week. They played primarily man-to-man all day, and we know Justin has success against man defense. So I'm really anxious to see how Green Bay is going to come out, knowing they're going to play a lot more zone and seeing how he responds to that. I really hope he responds well to it, because that's going to answer some questions about what the naysayers have, constantly spoke about all week, all year with Justin. And if he responds well to the zone, I think the Bears are going to win the game.
Hold on, okay, before you go, we're gonna get to Justin. I think Chris is right. There are opportunities Justin is going to have, but let's try to stick to the defensive side of the ball. And where do you think could be some? I see Tyreek Smith being a guy that could really turn the corner for us today and play a big factor in whether we win or lose.
I'm looking at two other guys.
Terrell Smith.
Terrell Smith. I know Terrell Smith in your specifically in your line of questioning. He's likely to be targeted heavily today, right? Because of exactly what you're saying. Now, to flip it a little bit, I'm not so sure if Green Bay went into the week aiming at that, preparing to aim for that position with the idea that potentially Jalen Johnson might be out. That's also, on the horizon. They're also down to Christian Watson too, so you kind of have to pick your receivers in that respect. So I'm going to go elsewhere, and I'm going to look at TJ Edwards, man. I think TJ Edwards has a monster game today. And I also think, because remembering the first game, if y'all remember the first game, Jordan Love he had all day to sit in that pocket and just make stuff appear, make things happen. And I don't think he's going to have that luxury today. I think Montez Sweat's going to be breathing. Thank you very much, dude. I think Montez Sweat's going to be breathing down his neck. I think Gervon Dexter's going to be breathing down his neck. I think Andrew Billing's going to be breathing down his neck. I don't think it's going to be a real cut and dry, easy day for him in that pocket. That's what happened last time.
Bruce likes to blitz too, not to mention that. He's not as vanilla as Alan Williams was.
This is true. So you might get some exotic flus blitzes. Hope to God it's in a situation where Justin Jones isn't covering a tight end, right? Like that. We'll just put that out there now. But I don't think this defensive front seven, which we haven't really. We've been talking a lot over the season about the back seven, but the front seven has improved so much over the last 5 games. This is a completely different team that Jordan Love is up against today. That being the case, I still see potentially a pick for Tyreek Stevenson. I'm hoping we get another one from TJ Edwards and then some sacks in the front. So I think defense rules the day today too, Nomad. I'm right there with you.
So Demond Dice, hey, welcome to the channel. I don't know if you've been here before, but
Demond's in there, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, first time me seeing you in here, so I just want to welcome you to the family. And if you would, man, please stop and hit that like button and subscribe for us. That would be very nice, man. Would appreciate it. But
In the Grasp I've never seen In the Grasp.
In the Grasp is in there, bro.
I've seen In the Grass, man. Hopefully he's subscribed and done all that stuff too. But welcome to the family, you guys. And anybody else that I may not have noticed, man. It's some people that I'm not accustomed to seeing all the time, like Ralph Love. Welcome to the show. I'm sure you've been here before.
Ralph Love is in there too. Give you guys some love.
I just want to give you guys a thumbs up, man. Thank you for being here, man. Hey, Here's where the game will get interesting. You know, if you watched any Green Bay game over the last however many years, you know that the most you might say Aaron Rodgers is the most, the worst thing that ever happened to us. You might say Jordan Love is the worst thing that happened to us. No, worst thing that's happened to us in these games is Aaron Jones. And so the advantage that we have today is we have a better run-fitted defense. What they're going to need to do, because he tears teams up in cutback situation. He's really good when he gets from 0 to 10 so fast, and you have to stay in your lane, but you got to maintain lane integrity in case he does see that cutback on the other side. He can get to it so quickly and exploit you. So your young defensive tackles like Javon Dexter, Pickens, and those guys like that have to have been told and drilled all week long, stay in your gap, fit that run. So if he does cut back, he runs into the resistance. The good thing about it is I don't think A.J. Dillon is playing, so you don't have that 1-2 combo hitting you all day long. And so to me, I think that's where the game's going to start, and I think that's where the game is going to we're going to be able to dictate to them whether or not you're a one-dimensional team, because if we can stop them in that run game, the play action is almost irrelevant. Now you just got to drop back and try to be quarterback. And so I think that's where the game kind of favors us today.
Big facts. The better you can stop Christian Watson on them play actions, the better.
Yep.
So I'm going to touch on. Chris, did you want to touch on that? No, okay, I got it. So
No, I'm good, bro.
All right. So they ate our lunch in the beginning of this, game one on the ground too. Like if you guys remember, Aaron Jones hit.
Jaguars just lost, kids. Just had
Say what?
The Jags just lost. They're out.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for stopping me. No, I'm serious though. I'm serious because all I care about with that game is that Calvin Ridley made it into the end zone because of my parlay. So like he made it in the end zone. At that point, I turned that game off. I don't care.
Yeah.
Poor Trevor Lawrence. He's got a bunch of questions to ask, much like our quarterback may have had over the past couple of weeks. It's gonna get worse for him next year. But what major difference is he's got the better part of a team built around him. We're still building. Let's build this damn thing. Anyways, back to that run defense. So Aaron Jones ate our lunch last time. We were not able to stop him at all. If I'm right, I know he had one monster run, like 75 yards, something like that. There is potential for one of those to break off here today. Let's be honest. But against the number one rushing defense, or if maybe number two rushing defense in the league, we've really stepped our game up in that respect. I don't think Aaron Jones is the 3-down running back he once was at some time. If he's got to carry the load, if I was a Packers fan, I might be a little bit worried. I'll also say he went out at the end of that game. We put him out for a couple of weeks. We also did that last year. He doesn't have necessarily awesome luck against us. He puts up numbers, but he generally winds up getting hurt. Hate to say this, Packers fans out there, if you're watching, but might not be a great game physically for good old Mr. Jones. That's my 2 cents. I don't think he can carry the 3-down load today.
Okay. Here's another area where I think the defense is going to be different. Why it's going to be different than the first time we played him. I think you alluded to it by mentioning T.J. Edwards. It's the combo play that he and Tremaine together. They've learned to play off of each other, understand each other better, communicate with each other better versus week one when they had no on grass experience other than training camp. Live.
Continue. Was Tremaine even in that first game, Doc?
He was, but he probably shouldn't have been. He didn't have the gas, man. He didn't have the wind just from missing so much of training camp. I seen him sucking air so often in that game, it wasn't even funny. And it was almost a little uncomfortable to watch because I knew he was out of shape. You can look at a football player and not know what in shape is because he looks immaculate. But your wind and your lungs, man, you got to have the capacity to be able to perform at a high level. And I knew missing so much training camp, that he wouldn't really be the player we're expecting him to be. And so, everybody on Twitter took right off on him, after that game. It was like, we paid this guy this much money, and not understanding the nuances. If you ain't never been through a training camp, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about, to be quite frank. You got to, they work those practices and those scrimmages and those live reps for a reason, man. You need to have game speed and game win when you play football. If not, you're going to look like half yourself, because you're not going to be able to react and burst with the authority that he is now. So that's why you're looking at a different Tremaine Edmonds versus week 1. But I think here's where Jordan Love has become really, really good. He likes to attack. He's really good at the screen stuff that Aaron Rodgers used to do, all that kind of stuff, the horizontal game. But another thing he's become really good at lately is I noticed that he's working. I was watching until late last night. He's working the middle of the field looking for holes and zones. And so a game like that would favor a long linebackers that can really cover up some of that stuff and take away some of those hole shots across the middle. Someone like Jaquan Brisker is going to have to have a really good game, because he's going to be in the vicinity of a lot of that. Kyler Gordon, TJ Edwards, the people that, kind of facilitate the middle of a zone defense. You got to understand that he's going to try to find holes in between areas. And if you keep certain depth and you keep yourself in a certain position, don't overplay or underplay something, he's going to give you some opportunities while that pass rush is after him. So it's going to be times where he's going to have to throw that ball off schedule, and you got to be ready to get those opportunities. They're going to try to go over your head. They're going to try to go underneath you. But Jordan Love is being really effective at, just really picking teams apart in the middle of their defense.
So, that guy who does whatever a spider can also went out super early in that game against Green Bay week 1. Super duper early. I think he was on the field for maybe the first quarter. I think he's going to add to, again, our defensive attack and our ability to keep things real on the field today. If you don't mind, I want to flip it to the offense a little bit, because there's one guy on the offense who also wasn't available week 1 that I think is going to make a monster impact today. And that's Tevin Jenkins. Big Tev. My guy really is the key to that offensive line. And with him not being out there week 1, we saw the difference. We got a real shaky O-line, and we don't really know what to do. But unfortunately, today we're looking at a situation where Lucas Patrick is out. I seen the chat. I seen y'all dissing Lucas Patrick. I'm going to say that Lucas Patrick is like that, that uncle that you don't necessarily like, but all of your family members think he's hilarious. You know what I mean? That fun-loving uncle who's a jerk to you. It's like the best comparison I can make. I think they love Lucas Patrick. I think Lucas Patrick is a character in that locker room, and I think he rallies the troops in a way that you guys would probably be really surprised about. When we score, that center runs into that end zone every time, and he loses his mind, right, when we touch down. But it's unfortunate that he's out today. I just hope there isn't a massive monster drop-off at the center position. I'm really hoping we don't see them shaky snaps again. I'm not sure who's going to be starting at center, as far as whether it's going to be Cody Whitehair or somebody else. Maybe Kenny Powers, or what's his name? Dan Feeney. Maybe it's Dan Kenny Powers. Maybe it's Dan Feeney at the end of the day. The mullet will rise and keep them snaps real today. But I hope things ain't shaky with them snaps, because that's a whole other situation.
Hey, so hello, how are you, John Perry? I don't know if you're new to the channel, but if you are, please do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe if you like what we're doing, man. We would appreciate it. Welcome to the family as well. Offensively, I think I believe that if Justin is given the situation that I hope he is, he'll be able to see some things at the line of scrimmage to take advantage of, and some one-on-ones. It's going to be interesting to see how they want to play Justin. Do they want to try to attack him on the line of scrimmage? Do they want to try to rush him hard? Or have they seen enough of Justin Fields to know that, hey, you don't rush this cat hard. He's found ways. He's getting comfortable and stepping up in the pocket, whereas when he used to feel like he had trouble. What's up, Samo? When he felt like he had trouble, he would squirt out to the left or to the right. This guy's dangerous when he notices that there's a hole to be kind of climbed up in the middle. And if they rush him too hard and he sees that hole in the middle, it's some really bad things. He can do bad things to this Green Bay defense. And so, with the whoever's playing center, I think we'll be all right to get out of the game. But, it is something to note. But I think that's the key for that defense is, will they decide to rush Justin Fields hard? Or will they decide to have a controlled pass rush, knowing what kind of quarterback they're facing? So, Samo, since you just got here with that mindset, what do you think that's going to play as far as level of importance in the game? Samo.
What up? Ready for war, baby. You see
me. Hey, stand up a little bit, Samo. We can't hardly see you.
You hear me?
I hear you, but you just delayed a little. You just delayed a little bit, man. Just keep just staying there, man. It'll catch up. But go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
My question.
I don't know what that was.
Go ahead, Samuel. Let's see if it's catching up.
Yeah, it did some type of refresh just now. Y'all hear me,
Gary? Yeah, you seem to be a little delayed, though. Your voice, picture, and the video and the audio aren't synced.
Oh, I know what it is. Hold on. Right. I know what it is.
Hey, guys, go ahead, Chris. I just noticed Tyson Bagent is inactive today. Nathan Peterman's going to be the backup. What's that about?
Bagent mania is over?
Well,
but I'm gonna ask. I think Samuel is where we need him to be. Give me a thumbs up, Samuel, if you hear me on time.
And there was your answer, right there.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Like, Samuel, do me a favor, brother. Yes, jump out, jump back in. And we should be good. But
yeah, jump out and jump back in, Samuel.
I'm not too worried about Tyson Bagent. I don't see us really looking at a backup quarterback today. I need JF1 to run things all day long. Bagent is sick. Milton Chisholm is giving me a little heads up. What's up, Milton? This is the first time I'm seeing you in the chat. Like, share, subscribe, brother, if you can. Evie Bear Down Davis, I done seen you 100 times, but thanks for representing with us today. Hey guys, it's going to be some fun today. I think the Packers are up against a situation that they are unfamiliar with. I've said similar things in the past with our divisional rivals. So here's the thing: we're going up against a team we've faced already. Not only are we super familiar with this team, but we got a bunch of players and a coach from that team. There really shouldn't be any excuses as to why we whooped their butts today. There really shouldn't be. Okay. We are familiar with these guys. We know what they're about. We've changed who we are. We're about a whole new list of something, and they're about to find out.
Say, hey, Samo is still in the green room right now, but before you come in, give me a thumbs up as soon as you hear my voice. All right, you ready then? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you the question that I was asking. We were talking about one of the keys on offense, keys on defense for them. And it was about, I think you heard me when I said, it's going to be interesting how they decide to attack Justin Fields. Do they go out on an all-out assault, or do they go on a controlled rush, knowing that this is the same quarterback that they were facing in week one?
Hey, I think that they're going to go out with that all-out assault. However, they're going to keep a spy on Justin, man. So I can see a Quay Walker or that other linebacker Campbell they have, keep staying as a spy, and just mirroring Justin Fields in middle of the field and trying to keep him in check. I don't think it's going to work because Justin is fastest guy in the league, if you ask me, as far as getting around the edge. But I think that's the way they'll go because they're going to have to keep Justin in check and keep him from beating them with his legs and they're going to try to make them beat him with his arm, as they like to say, make him play quarterback, is what they like to say whenever they're playing Justin Fields.
Okay, so here's another. I think the turnover battle. I think it could be that close a game that the turnover battle could make the difference. It's about who can turn that ball over, who can do what with that turnover. Can you turn it into manufactured points? Can you make hay with it? Can you get a turnover and eat up a certain amount of clock? These are the little nuances to a game that make a big difference, man. You know, when you waste an opportunity by turning the ball over, you give the opportunity back to the opponent to, at least at the very worst, chew up a bunch of clock, especially if you need to come back a little bit, man. But I'll tell you another little. I think I bet this being the last game of the season, I bet they may have a couple of extra plays in there that we haven't seen all year for, say, somebody like a Velus Jones. And, you know, getting them the ball out of the backfield, some kind of reverse or something to really make a splash in the game. But I wouldn't, you know, this is one of those times of the year that you want to get, you know, you want to win the game, but you want to get the guys that have been less involved in the game plan involved more, because it's something you haven't put on tape thus far this year. So you can really catch them off balance by using some plays that favor Velus Jones and getting him involved. He could break one or two of those big plays. So to me, I'm going in my bag if I'm Luke Getsy and Flus. I'm gonna do some things in this game that we haven't put on tape. So I expect to see some of the plays that they have probably been working on all year that they haven't seen this year. We haven't seen this year to kind of show its face today.
Absolutely, man. I think I still feel like these guys feel like, as they should feel, that they're still coaching for their jobs, man. I don't think anything is solidified. I think they have a good chance of, Bruce has a good chance of coming back at least. Getsy has to, put it on tape if he wants to make a case for him coming back or auditioning for another team. So, yeah, they're going to come out with everything they have, man. Everything they didn't use that they feel like they could beat the Packers with. Hey, you have to utilize it in this game. For us, this is a playoff game. For the Packers, it's a playoff game too, because if we win, then they're done. So this is going to be a playoff atmosphere type of game, man. I expect it to be physical. I expect it to be fast. I think we have to control the game, though. Like you said, with turnovers and running the ball, I think we have to maintain some control of this game and not let this game get away from us early. So the turnover is going to be important. I think, and the controlling the ball with the running game is going to also be important for us.
Well said, man. Because I think we're gonna get a heavy dose of Khalil Herbert today, guys. Khalil, as much as all of us love Donta Foreman and hate what's going on with Donta Foreman, right? Like I can't blame the man. I understand where he's at, and it kind of sucks. To back it up to Khalil, Khalil's played some really good football these last couple of weeks, y'all. He has, and traditionally he plays pretty good football against the Green Bay Packers.
But they've been going under center for once.
That's a Luke Getsy question. Or Fluke forgets. We'll see what Luke has to say about it. But at the end of the day, I would like to see a heavy dose of that 1-2 punch with Roschon and see what happens. I think we can really do some damage on the ground here today.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Here's another intangible. And don't ever forget I told you this, man. Coming from a football player's perspective now. There's a when great players, and you're gonna know exactly where I'm going when I say this. Once you hear me finishing out this statement, great players. One thing great players do not like is to feel like they're being disrespected or being snubbed. Yep. There's a player on our team that felt like, hey, why the hell am I not in the Pro Bowl this year? Y'all pissing me off now. He's not that big in stature, but boy, that damn man is a giant when he's on that field. And imagine his cat off. You know where I'm going? Somebody go ahead and fill in the rest of it.
That man's name is DJ Moore. That's what that man's name is.
Bingo.
DJ
And he's
Moore.
from Jamaica. And we don't Jamaicans we don't like, we don't take no disrespect. Trust me, God. Trust me. We don't
I didn't
business
know
with
that.
Yeah, TJ go. Hey, Leo, that's another one, man. I was gonna go there, but thank you for mentioning that.
TJ Edwards. Hey, Jaquan Brisker is also another one. I thought you could have went with either one of those three guys because Brisker should have made the Pro Bowl, man, especially over Buda Baker as far as the stats go. So, hey.
So, I didn't even really clue into the TJ Edwards thing here. Wait a second. Hold on. My guy's he's tippy top linebacker in the league, y'all.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would love. I didn't even think about this. We should probably look at stat lines between him, Roquan Smith, and whoever else might be
Peter
at
Mount.
the upper echelon. But TJ's right there. I think he might be leading the league in tackles, B in interceptions at the linebacker position.
Yep.
Right, like the kid's dangerous, and he's the lesser paid commodity in Chicago. At the very least, he deserves the accolades and didn't get it. And I think that's fuel. Burn him down today. Burn him down today, TJ.
You said tippy top. I thought that was cool.
Say again?
You said he was at the tippy top.
He should be. He should be. He was leading the league in tackles for a while.
Tippy top.
The tippy top, yo. TJ's a serious linebacker.
I'm a little concerned about the absence of Foreman as an active, and Khalil's back has been giving him some issues. So you guys talked about a heavy dose of Herbert. He is dealing with that back. He's good to go, but I really wish we had more details on why Deontay Foreman has been inactive.
I think you know the answer to that, Chris. Come on, man.
I'm sorry?
I think you know the answer to that.
Well, we're speculating. Everybody's speculating, but I think we know. But you know what? They should have cut him and brought in somebody else, because with Herbert being, a little bit down, we would have needed more depth at running back. If they're not going to play him at all, just cut him.
Well, I know this, man. This is what I know. And this is just, again, this is Samo, man. Football players, man, are real prickly people, whether they show it to you on the outside or not, man. They real prickly and they're real prideful. And we got a team full of dudes that probably, and I ain't know probably too, they probably feel a little disrespected by the Pro Bowl voters, by what, their record indicates people might think of them, and they want to go out in this game and say, you know what? We know we're one of the best teams in the league. Y'all don't know that yet, but you're finna find out effing today. And they know they are. They know they are. I'm gonna tell you guys something, man. There is not a more dangerous team to play than a team that feels disrespected. A team that feels like they've been slighted for whatever reason, whether it's the league penalties and other teams and people saying stuff to them or about them. The coaches might have slighted them all year long, by the choice of play calling or not calling something, how many snaps you got. And I think we got a locker room full of hungry Bears that just came out of hibernation. And I think you're going to sense that in this game, especially when I get to thinking about DJ and TJ Edwards. I can't believe that neither one of those guys didn't make the Pro Bowl. And it's probably a bunch of guys in that locker room that feel like they played Pro Bowl football this year. Tevin Jenkins being another guy, Brisker being another. So I want to keep that conversation going, because I've been in locker rooms like that where guys didn't get the nods that they was expecting to get from whatever association that was giving out these awards or these accolades. You don't want to play a team that's got a locker room full of guys like that, and we got one of them right now.
This whole locker room, you're not joking, man. And it starts at the top, man, from that guy in QB1, Justin Fields, man. He's been disrespected the entire year. The first game of the year, he didn't look good at all against these Packers. And, they said some things afterwards in their locker room about Justin Fields, about making him play quarterback, as I said before, and knowing that, him and DJ Moore weren't going to be good against them in game one and so forth. And then, the entire year, Justin has had to deal with the naysayers and then it's also about, whether he's going to be back now next year and whether the Bears should keep him or should not keep him and move on and draft one of these rookie quarterbacks. So Justin is out to prove him wrong, man. And he's also out to prove that he can beat these Packers, man. He hasn't done that throughout his career. Like, Justin has a lot to prove, man. And I think today he's going to prove everybody wrong. You know what I mean? Like, he's going out and he's going to put it all on the line. And I think the guys behind him are going to, step it up because they know what this game means for Justin Fields on offense. And then, on defense, like you said, all those guys who were snubbed in the Pro Bowl and just to talk about, this defense being on the rise, you want to keep that going too. If you want to say that you're a top 5 defense, okay, now let's see you stop a team, a good team, or what people think is a good team from making it into the playoffs. Let's see you do that. And then that's how you solidify yourself in the NFL and make a name for yourself by winning games like this and showing up for games like this one right here.
So you said something that caught my that hit me sideways, and it was just that Justin is going to prove him wrong today. I think Justin's going to prove himself right, much like he did against Trevor Lawrence, coming out of college in that final game. He's been snubbed quite a bit, and this is why I like this kid, man. This is why I like H1M, JF1, QB1. Kid's got humility. He's a leader. He's had that chip on his shoulder for a very long time, y'all. If y'all really think about it, he's been playing second fiddle to Trevor Lawrence his whole life. Came up when challenged, crushed the man, went off into the sunset, gets drafted. Oh, we're going to push you down. We're going to push you down. We're going to make, like, somebody bought a whole bag of chips, y'all, and we're just stacking them chips on his shoulder. Quite frankly, they're now throwing chips at the rest of the team. There's chips everywhere. One thing Ryan Poles did say today was that there's probably a whole bunch of Pro Bowl alternates on our squad. I think he said there's potentially 5 to 7 of them. We'll see what that actually looks like. He said, don't ask me who they are, and I'm not going to tell you if you do. But I think that those are those guys that we're talking about. I think those guys are those, that TJ Edwards, that Tevin Jenkins, potentially Brisker. And I'm also going to say that I think, FFG style was you who said it in the chat, but I think there is a conversation about Tariq Stevenson as rookie of the year. Defensive rookie, right? I think there's a conversation there. So, at the end of the day, there's a lot of chips on a lot of shoulders in Chicago today. And
you know what there also is?
Fine, you guys. We only got
game time.
Minute business. So guys, let me wrap this up because I got to get you guys out of here.
Chips, yo, get your salsa.
So before we get out of here, let me leave you guys with this, man. Being a player, I know this. I ain't gonna do the normal around the horn because we don't have time. I'm sorry, but we'll be back at 8 tonight for you guys, man. Doing Nomad at night, doing the post game, but. Man, for every football team that is becoming, every football team that needs to prove who they are and they are who they believe they are, there comes a moment. This one is right now, right here. You go in your biggest opponent's backyard and you beat the stew out of them. And that's how you prove that you are what you think you are. And that's how we're going to end the season. It's our time, and this ain't week 1. And by the time we get to y'all Nomad at night, we're going to be celebrating like an MF. Believe that like you believe in the Lord, man. And so with that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all. Bear down and kick their ass tonight.
Bear down.
Be.